Okay, so hello, my name is Nikhil Khemani and I'm from Ahmedabad and my batch is CAB 05 and my enrollment number is 021. Okay, and today I will be teaching you about the ES6, uh, like the topics about the ES6. Okay, and let me share my screen here. Okay, so hopefully the screen must be visible to you. Mhm. So these are all the topics that we will cover in this video. Okay, the first topic is let and const keyword and their use cases. Okay, then arrow function, how it is different from the normal function, template literals, default parameters, for of loop, object and array destructuring. Okay, rest parameter, sprayed operator, and classes. So 9 topics I will cover of ES6 in this video. Okay, let me go to the coding platform. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, we will take let and const keywords and their use cases. Okay, let me copy that and paste it over here. So in ES6, there are 2 new keywords that has been launched. Before ES6, they were using where as a keyword for initializing any variable. Okay, so if suppose I before ES6, suppose like I have to initialize any variable, so we were doing like where a equals to 10 and then console.log a. So if we go to the console, we can check it over here. It's 10. But the reason that let and const have been launched in ES6 is because where is not let me check show it here. Okay, so if suppose like we are initializing where in curly braces. Okay, where b equals to 20. Okay, and if we are I'm sorry, and if we are consoling it out of the curly braces b, then also we will be able to get the value. So these are not curly braces code. Okay, where are not the curly braces code. So that is why to make this happen, let has been launched in ES6. So that's why we are getting error here because we are using let over here. Okay, so these are like if suppose we are using this b inside the curly braces, so we can get the value over here of b. Okay, you can check it over here. So inside these curly braces, if we want to use any variable, we can use let and const. Okay, if we use const instead of let, so it will also give you the same result. But if suppose we are using it out of the curly braces, we won't be able to get the value. We will be getting an error. Okay, so this is the main difference of where let and const. Okay, so now where we can use let and where we can use const. What is the difference between them? So if suppose like I'm using let over here instead of where, I'm getting the value of a. Okay, and if I want to change the value, if suppose I want to change the value of a over here, and I'm writing a equals to 20, and then again I'm consoling it. So we will be getting a value of 20 over here. You can see the first console is giving us the value of first a, and the other console is giving us the value of the updated value of it. Okay, so if suppose we will comment it out and check, so we will get the value 20 over here of a in the rest of the code. So we can change the value of any variable while using let. But if suppose we are using const instead of let, so it will give us an error. Okay, it will say that assign to constant variable. So that means this variable is constant and we can't change it in future. Understood? If we uncomment it and check, it will give you the first variable value. The first a value, it will give you 10, but it will not give you the second console value because we are manipulating a over here and we are then consoling it. So it will give you an error. So we can't change the value of a if we are using const before the variable. So if we want to change the value, we can use let over here. And if we don't want to change the value, we can use const over here. So this is all about let and const keyword and also the use cases of it. Okay. Now we will check about the arrow functions, how it is different from the normal function. Let me copy this first and paste it over here. Okay. So how arrow functions is normal from a different function. First of all, let me tell you about the normal functions. What are the types of normal functions? Everybody knows about the function expression, function declaration. So these are the types of normal functions. Okay, if suppose like we want to initialize any function into a variable, so we can use let. Any name you can give like to a function detail. Then we will be using a function, and then we can give the value over here inside the function. Okay, so whatever will be the code, we can write it over here. This is called as function expression. Function expression. Okay, this is known as function expression. Now, what is function declaration? It is just a syntax that is changed while using the function declaration. Detailed 2. Okay, so we can write the code over here, and this is known as function declaration. Function. So these all the people were using in ES5 and before versions of JavaScript. Okay, so now in ES6 they have launched arrow function. So what is in the arrow function? Arrow function simply means we don't have to write the name of any function, like not the name, we don't have to write the name function. And instead of function, we can use arrow. This is the arrow that we can use to declare any function. So how the arrow is used in a function? We can check it over here. Here we can use any parameters inside the brackets. Just the way we are using here inside the brackets, we are using any parameters, okay? Here we are using the parameters, then here we are using the parameters. So it is the same way we can use the parameters over here inside the brackets. Now, instead of writing function, we can use the arrow over here and simply we can use our code. Okay, so this is known as arrow function. Also, it is known as fat arrow function or fat arrow function. Why it is known as fat arrow function? Simply, you can see this is a stomach. So we can say it is fat. Okay, fat arrow and then function. So this is how you can use arrow function instead of using these functions. Okay, arrow functions, and how you are not, you are like knowing how it is different from the normal functions now, just the way I explained it. Okay, so this is all about arrow functions and how it is different from the normal functions. Now we can check the third topic, template literals. And this is one of the best thing that has been launched, that has been introduced in the ES6. Okay, template literals. Every time if we want to console it, initialize it, or maybe whatever we can do, we are using in a string as single inverted commas or double inverted commas. So now in ES6, they have launched backticks. We can write the same thing, whatever we are writing in single inverted comma and double inverted comma, we can use the same things inside this backtick. So how it is used? Let us check with an example. Okay, if suppose like, uh, let me give a name over here. Let name equals to, let us take my name, Nikhil. So I have written this in double inverted commas. Okay, let surname equals to, let me write this in single inverted commas. Okay, so if we console it, name, we are getting the value. Let me write the name over here. Okay, so we will get the value over here, Nikhil Khemani. Okay, so this is how we are getting the value. So the same thing if we write in backticks, we will get the same value. Okay, so as you can see here, we are getting the same value. So if we are getting the same value, so why is the need of introducing backticks in ES6? Think about it. What is the need of using backticks instead of using single inverted commas and double inverted commas? So for an example, if suppose I'm giving a mathematical operation to check, let us take a variable A, and the value of A is 10. Let us take one more variable B, and the value of B is 20. Okay, so let us take one more variable sum, and here we will write A plus B. So if suppose like I have to write this thing inside the console, so how we will write it? Console log sum. It is really simple to write this thing, but if suppose we have to write some statement over here, so if suppose like I have to write the, let us start with A, the variable A. So, okay, the variable, then we have to concatenate it with A. Then again we have to use the single inverted commas or double inverted commas, whatever you feel like, you can use it. The variable A, and the variable, then again concatenate it B as the total sum, and you have to write sum over here. So you can see like, again we have made a mistake, see 10 and and doesn't have any space between them. So it was really hectic for all the web developers to concatenate it and then again use these kind of single inverted commas and double inverted commas. It was very hectic. And if suppose the code is of many lines and we have to concatenate it, so it becomes very much pathetic and hectic for all the coders that they are using these kind of single inverted commas and double inverted commas. Okay, so to overcome this thing, they introduced backticks. So how the backticks are used? The variable, we will write the variable a. So if suppose we have to initialize a over here, we have to take the value of a. We will use dollar and then curly braces. That's it. A. The variable a and the variable dollar b has the total sum dollar sum. That's it. See, we have got the same thing, but in a shorter formation. Okay, and it is also very much sorted. Instead of using concatenation, we can use these things, template literals. Okay, so this is the use of template literals, and this is one of my favorites. I'm always using this thing in all my projects. Okay, now we will see the default parameters. What is mean by default parameters? You know about the parameters. Parameters we are using inside the functions. Okay, we are using parameters inside the functions. So what is mean by default parameters? It simply means we are giving any default value to that parameter. So that is mean by default parameters. Let us take an example of it. Okay. Uh, Function. Let me write it. We are a function. Oh, I'm sorry. Function sum. Okay. Let a equals to 10. Let b equals to 20. And if suppose we have to find the sum of it, we can use let sum equals to a plus b, and then we will return sum. Okay. So if we have to find the value of sum, we can simply console it sum. We will get the value of it. Why it is giving us an error? Let me just check it. Okay, I'm so sorry. Console.log sum. Also, it is giving us some function. So we have to use call, like we have to call function over here and we are getting the value of it. Okay. The value of sum is 30. So if suppose we don't want to take this a and b over here, we can use it as a parameter. Okay. A comma b. And we can simply give value, whatever we feel like, we can give the value and we will get the same result. Okay. So these are the parameters. So if suppose like I'm giving only 10, what do you think? What will be the value of b then? What will be the value of b? If any variable is declared and we haven't like we are not giving any value to that variable, so what will be the value of that variable in console? What will be the value of it? It will be undefined. Let us check it. Let me write console over here so that it will be easy for all of us. Console.log sum. We will simply call sum. What will be the value of it? Not a number. Okay. So if we are not giving any value to the second parameter, we are not passing any argument to the second parameter, so it will give us an error. It will give us not a number, or maybe it will give us undefined. Okay. So how to overcome that thing? Default parameters. Okay. We will give a default value to these parameters. Okay. Like if suppose you are not getting any value, we will give 0. So if suppose we are not passing any argument to b, it will at least take the value of 0 as a parameter, as an argument to b, and then it will give us the sum of a plus b. You can check it. The sum of a plus b is 20. It's not 0 like we can give anything over here. We can give a string Nick. If suppose I've given a string, so it will give you 10 Nick over here. It will concatenate it. Okay. If suppose we are giving any number over here, any number 45 we are giving, then it will give you 55 as a number. It will give a sum of it. Okay. Okay. So these are the default parameters that we can use inside the functions. That's it. That's all about the default parameters. Now we will check about the for of loop. Okay, for of loop. So what is mean by for of loop? We are using the normal for loop. Let us take a variable. Okay, let us see with an example. Let array equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the elements inside an array. Now let us use for loop, normal for loop inside it. Okay, let I equals to 0, I is less than equals to array dot length minus 1, I plus plus, and then console array of I. So here are all the elements that we are getting from the for loop. Okay, if we are using the for loop, normal for loop, we are getting the same. We are getting the elements over here. So what is the difference between normal for loop and for of loop? This is for of loop. Okay, we have used this thing inside for loop. This is normal for loop. Now let us take the same thing inside for of loop. Okay, let us use for of loop now. So we will write the syntax of for of loop is for let. Now we can give anything over here. Like if you want, we can use val. If you want, we can use I. If you want, we can use j. Whatever you feel like, you can use it over here. I am using val instead of anything. Okay, any I, or like it is easy for us to use val. Val means value. We are getting the value of for loop. So I'm using val to make it more simpler. Okay, let val of array. Now here we will get the value of it. Okay, so if suppose I will console simply val over here, I will get the same thing. See, I will get the same thing. Whatever I'm getting over here, I will get the same thing. Let me write hyphen in between so that it will be easy for understanding. Okay, so we are getting the same value. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the elements of that array, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the same elements of that same array. Okay, this is the array. Here we are using for initializer. I is the initializer. Then till what it will go, we are initializing that thing over here. I will be less than or equals to array dot length minus one. If you are using equals to over here, if you don't want to use equals to, we can simply cut that minus one from here. Then also it will give you the same thing. You can check it. Okay, and then increment it. And we are writing the code inside that for loop. So to make it more simpler, we are using for of loop. Okay, let me write a value to make it more simplified. Okay, you can check it. Instead of writing these many things inside the for loop, we can write let value of array. Okay, what will be the value of every element inside that array? It will give the same value. So this is all about for of loop. I hope you might have understood the value of for loop, the value of for loop inside ES6. Now we will talk about the object and array destructuring. Object and array destructuring. Let me copy this, paste it over here. So this is the most important thing in ES6, okay? Object and array destructuring. Let us take first array destructuring and then we will talk about the object destructuring, okay? We all know about the arrays. What are arrays? Simply it will like we can store one or more variables inside one or more elements inside one variable. That is known as array. Let us take an array. Let array equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. This is array. Now if suppose I want to take the value of first element of an array, how we will take that? Console.log. If you want to console the first element of an array, how we will console it? Array of 0, we have to write the index of it. So we will get the first element of an array. Now if we want the third element of an array, you can check it over here. First element is 0, second is first, second, then third. Third is fourth. Okay. So if we write 3 over here, we will get the value of third element. That is 4. Okay. So this is how we are normally taking the value of any array, any array. So what is mean by destructuring? Now, if suppose like I want the value of first first element of any array, I will simply write let, you can give any name, you can give first over here. Now we will simply write array. Okay. If we want the value of first now, let us console it and what we are getting. Let us check it. We are getting the same thing. Okay. It is not giving us the value of first element. It is simply taking the reference of that array and then we are printing it. Okay. If suppose we want this thing first, we will simply write it inside the brackets, square brackets. Now, if we console it, what we will get? We will get the first element. Now, if we want the second element, so how we will take second element? You can write anything. I am writing second. Okay. So, and also we have to console it. If I will console second, I will get the second element. Okay. Now, if suppose I only want first element and last element. Last element is fifth. If suppose I want that two values, I don't want the values of anyone. We can't write fifth over here. If we write fifth and we are consoling at fifth, we can't get the value of it. Let us check. We will not be getting the value. We will get the second element value. So how we will tackle that thing? How we will get the value of 5 over here? Instead of getting 2, I don't want these values. I only want first value and last value. So how we will get that? Simply count the elements inside that and give that much spaces, not spaces like that much commas in between the initializers. Okay, so there are 1, 2, and 3 places. That 1, 2, 3. That's it. First, second, and third. Okay, so now I will get the fifth value. See, I'm getting the fifth value. If I want the third value, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. What is the third value? If I will write let square brackets third, and then I will give array. And if I will console it, third, I will get third value. Simple. I will write the first element over here. I will write second element over here. And I will write third element over here. I'm writing nothing in between them. So I will directly get the third value. If I am consoling it, see, I'm getting the third value. So this is how we can destructure any array. Okay. This is all about the array. Now we will check about, let me write it over here. Array destructure. Okay, now we will see about the object destructure. What is meant by object destructure? It simply means we also have destructure about the object. That's it. Let us see object destructure. Okay, we simply have to initialize an object. Okay. Let me take the key value pairs. Name. Let me write my name. Okay. Age 28. And then designation. Web developer. Okay, so I have given 3 key value pairs inside the object. Okay, so how to destructure it? If suppose I am giving let name equals to obj, will it give me the name of that object? Tell me. No. Let us console it. Name. It will give you the whole object. You can check it. It will give you the whole object. Okay. So if suppose I want only the name of that object, I will simply write it in curly braces. So here I will get the name. Okay. Now if I want the designation, let if I want only the designation of that object, Okay, designation of an object. I will write it inside the curly braces and I will check it. You can see web developer. So this is how we can destructure an array or an object. So that's it. That's all about the destructuring of an array and object. I hope you have understood about it. Now we will go to the further topic, that is the rest parameter. Rest parameter. Where are we using the parameters? We are using it inside the functions. So what is mean by rest parameter? The rest of the things that we have inside that function will get into that parameter. That is mean by rest parameter. It is the simplest definition of that. Let us see with an example. Okay. Let me take a function. Okay. I will take the same function a comma b comma c. Okay. I will take three values inside it. Now let sum equals to a plus b plus c, and then I will console it. Now, if I will call that function, oh, I'm so sorry. Let me write total is the name of that function. Okay, and if suppose I will call that function and I will give the value 10, 20, and 30, I will get the sum of that. Okay. Now, what is mean by rest parameters? Rest parameters, just the way I gave you the definition of rest parameters, that means if suppose there are, we don't know about how many arguments that will be passed in that function. We don't know about that. So we will simply write the rest parameter inside that function, and it will give you the value of all the parameters that are left. Okay, it will give you the value of it. It will include that inside this code, and it will give you the output. Okay, let us see with an example over here. If suppose I will write dot dot dot, which means this is the syntax of rest parameters. Okay, this is the syntax of rest parameters. I will get the same value here. Just a second. Why am I getting 30 30? Let us check it. It is actually concatenating it. Let me check it. I have to write plus. Okay. It is actually taking it as a string. So we can make changes inside that code and we can get the desired output as per you want. Okay. Here I wrote plus over here. So plus simply means like we are converting this C string into a number, and then we are adding with a plus b. Okay. And we are getting the same value C. So if suppose like here we are getting 60. Okay. So if suppose like there are many more parameters, like if suppose there is 40, there is 50, if we can pass, then it will directly go into the C and it will give you the sum of all the numbers. Just a second. Let me take let us not take the mathematical operation because it is taking much time and it is very lengthy. So if I will do this thing only inside it, we will not be able to complete it. Okay. So let me take name, age, details. Okay. Rest of the details we will get it inside the details, and I will simply write the triple dot before that details. Okay, you can check it over here. So rest of the details you will get it inside this. Okay, now I will console name, age, details, and then in total I will write Nikhil. Okay, Nikhil, then age 28, and rest of the parameters like rest of the arguments. If suppose I want to pass, we can pass like mm, we can pass what I am doing. Like I'm doing a course in Masai, so we can write Masai over here. If we want to pass some more arguments, we can pass some more arguments. Whatever you want, you can pass it. Okay. And then we will get the value of all the things. Okay. We are getting the first value, name, we are getting the second value, 28, and rest of the things we are getting inside an array. So this is how we can use the rest parameters inside a function. Okay. Rest parameters simply means parameter which will take rest of the details, rest of the things, rest of the arguments which we pass inside that function. It will take all the arguments inside the rest parameters and it will do it. It will give you the output. Okay. Okay, this is all about the rest parameter. Now we will talk about the spread operator. So what is mean by spread operator? What is the spread operator? You know about the rest parameter. We are writing triple dot, and then whatever we will write, it will take the rest parameter. Okay, but if suppose we are not writing that in parameter, if you are not writing that inside the function as a parameter, that is known as spread operator. Okay, if we are not using triple dot inside the parameter, inside the function as a parameter, it will take it as a spread operator. Let us see with an example. Okay, let me take one example like let me take an array. Let array equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is an array. I'm so sorry for that. Okay, so if suppose this is an array. Okay, now if I'm writing let array equals to array, and if we console it, what will be the value of array? It will be the same value. We saw it before also. Okay, see, you can check it over here. It is the same value that we are getting. Now you might be thinking like we are copying this array. Okay, if suppose I want to make changes inside this array and not in this array, it is getting a bit confused. Let me take numbers instead of array. Okay, okay, so it is giving the same value. Now you suppose like I only want I only want to manipulate this numbers and I don't want to manipulate this array. Like I want this array in the same formation as it is. Okay, so now if suppose like I will write numbers dot push 6, and if I will check the value of numbers, you can check it over here. I've got the value of 6. I've got the value of that uh, array numbers, okay? But if suppose I will console array, then also it will give you the same value. So why it is getting manipulated? Why it is getting manipulated? That is because we are not copying this array. We are taking the reference of that array. Okay. So if suppose we want to copy that array, we have to use the spread operator. This is how we can use the spread operator, but it is giving you the red line. So how we can use that? We will simply write it inside the square brackets, and that's it. You can check now. We are getting the value of numbers here, and we are getting the value of array over here. Now, if suppose you want to use these numbers and you have to copy that array, you can simply write this thing and then you can use this number in the rest of the code. So this is how you can copy any array. Simple. Okay. So now we will check one more example of the spread operator. Okay. We will check one more example of this spread operator. If I don't want to use square brackets and I only want to use, let me clear it. Okay. I don't want to use this thing, square bracket inside this thing. Okay. So how we can check that? We can simply write this thing, the initializer inside the square brackets. Let me take first and then rest of the numbers. Understood? It will get understood. Good. Let me console it first. It will give you the first value of that array. This thing. Okay, it will give you the first element of that array. In first, if we console the first. But rest of the numbers, if we want to console it, it will simply give you inside the spread operator. Okay. If we want the second value, then simply write one more variable. And then we can also get the second value. And rest of the numbers we will get it inside the number spread operator. Okay, understood? It is more similar like we were using the destructuring of an array. So instead of like, this is also one kind of destructuring of an array, not kind of, like it is known as the destructuring of an array. But if suppose we don't know how much value will be there inside the array, then we can use the spread operator. We can check now, we will get the rest of the numbers inside the spread operator. So this is how we can use the spread operator. Okay. So this is all about spread operator. Now we will use classes. What is mean by classes? Okay, we will check that. So for knowing classes, what is mean by classes, we should know about the constructor function. So let us take one constructor function first, and then we will check about the classes. Constructor functions. So for using constructor functions, we will use function first. Let me give a name raw. Raw means like we are using the raw data inside that function. So it will be easy for us to know the value, to know the rest of the code inside the function. If we give the name raw, okay, so you will get the raw data. That's why I wrote raw over here. Okay. Now this is simple function. Okay. But if suppose like I am using it as a constructor function, we are using this dot keys inside an object. So if suppose we are using that thing that this dot and any variable, so inside any function, so that is mean by constructor function. Okay, so suppose like I will use this dot uh, model equals to model. Let me take the parameters over here. Model, then chases, then wheels. Okay, let me take these three parameters inside the function, and now this dot chases equals to chases. Then let me take the third variable, this dot wheels equals to wheels. And let me take two, three more functions as a variable inside this function. This dot blue on equals to, I'm using arrow function inside it, console dot blowing horn. I have to write it inside the inverted commas. Now, as it is a string, so we have to write inside this single inverted commas or double inverted commas. Okay. This dot accelerate equals to function console dot log accelerating. Okay. Let me take one more example, one more variable, one more function inside the variable. Indicate. Indicate right. We are giving an indicator to right side, so that's why I throw indicate right. Okay. Console.log right indicator start. Okay. So this is a constructor function, and this is the raw data we have mentioned inside the constructor function. Okay. We have also used three parameters in that function. Now, if I want the value of this function, like if suppose like uh, I want a new Nexon car with this raw data. So how I will get that? I will simply write let Nexon as a variable declaration. Now I will give the value of it. If I will write raw, simple, and then I will write model number like you can give anything as a model number. Now chases number, if you want, you can give any chases number, and four wheels. What do you think? What will get the value? It will give us an error. There is one mistake we have done. Let us check. Okay, so it is not giving anything because we have not consumed it. Let us console it and check. Will it give us an error or not? It's giving us undefined. Why it is giving us undefined? So as I told, we have made one mistake over here. For using constructor function, we have to write new and then we have to call the function. So we will get all the values. You can check it again. We are getting an object. Okay. Now, if I want to check only the model of that, so I will simply write next one dot model. I will get the model number. If I want to check wheels, so how many wheels it has? It has 4 wheels. Okay. So this is how we are using a constructor function. Okay. If I want the value of this, accelerate, low horn, how we will get the value? We can't get the value like dot blow horn. Why we can't get the value of it? Because it will give you the function. See, it is giving you blowing horn, but also it is giving you undefined. Why it is giving you undefined? Because we have used console over here also and here also we have used a console. So we have to write this thing outside the console. See, we got the value. If I want accelerate, accelerating, we are getting the value of it. So this is how we can use the constructor function. So if I want to use classes, so how we can use the classes instead of constructor function? It's very simple. We simply have to convert this thing into classes. How we will convert this? We have to write class, then this thing name we have to give over here. We have to give curly braces and everything we have to transfer it with this curly braces. But it is giving an error. See, we can't use the function. So instead of writing function raw, we have to write constructor as it is a constructor function. Okay. It will give you the same output. See, if we console it, if we console next on, it will give you the same output. But if suppose I don't want to use this inside this classes, so how I can use that? It will become more simple, trust me, but you can see. This we can check over here. This curly braces belongs to this. Okay. From here till here, we are writing code. We are writing a raw code inside this constructor function. So simply backspace it and give that curly braces over here. And instead of writing this, you can simply write the normal function. Low horn. Then you can cut this thing, accelerate, remove that equals to, remove that arrow. Now this also we have to remove. Remove that arrow. Now you can check this giving the same thing. So this is how we can use classes in JavaScript. So this is all about the classes. Okay. We have covered 9 topics now. And all of these topics are very important if you are using JavaScript and to move further to use the advanced version of JavaScript. to know about the React things, we have to use these. Like these topics are very much essential. You should know these topics, okay? If you want to move forward. So we have covered let and const, arrow, arrow functions, template literals, default parameters, for of loop, object and array destructuring, REST parameters, spread operator, and classes. So that is all about these topics. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Let me stop the screen share. Okay. So signing off now. Again, I will tell my name. My name is Nikhil. I am from CAB 05 batch and my enrollment number is 021. Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.